A lot of people assume financial progress has to look a certain way before it actually begins to count, like getting that big promotion, a major raise, having a big investment account, a life that just looks different from the outside. And when that season of things is not happening yet, they decide they're not doing well. And that is just not how it works. More money does not automatically mean better money management. If the habits are the same, the results will eventually be the same, just on a larger scale. Real progress starts when your behavior changes, when you become more intentional about your money and your choices, when you stop reacting and you start deciding how things unfold in your life. If you are thinking before you spend, if you are checking your accounts instead of avoiding them, if you are building savings, reducing debt, or investing consistently, that is all growth. You may not be at your long-term goal yet, but you are not where you started either. Financial progress is usually not loud. It shows up in your discipline every day. And today we're going to walk through 7 signs that prove you are doing better financially than you actually think. Number 4 and number 7 are my best 2 indicators. One reason smart, capable individuals underestimate their progress is because they're measuring the wrong things. They focus on the big outcomes that take years to build and overlook all those smaller decisions that created those outcomes. Money is shaped by choices that you repeat every week, every month, every year. The decisions are what change your financial position over time. If your habits are improving, then your future is definitely improving. Even if your income has not doubled, tripled, or whatever we want it to be, even if you are still paying off debt, even if your savings account is still in progress. The real question is not whether you have arrived yet, it's whether you are moving in the right direction. And direction over time is what determines everything about your financial outlook. Sign number 1. You think before you spend. One of the clearest indicators of financial maturity is restraint. You pause before you spend your money. There was a time when spending was reactive. Remember that? You saw something, you justified it quickly, and you moved on. The decision required very little evaluation. Now there's a filter. You consider the costs up against your priorities. You think about timing. You think about the trade-offs. You assess whether this purchase supports the direction you have chosen for your money. That pause is discernment, and your financial stability is built on it. Thinking before you spend does not mean you avoid enjoying things in life. It just means enjoyment is aligned. You are aware of what you are choosing and what you are postponing. You understand that money assigned to one thing is unavailable to another thing. If you are evaluating purchases beforehand instead of reacting to what you bought afterward, that is evidence of growth. Discipline in those small decisions compounds into strength, and stronger decision making is a reliable predictor of better financial outcomes. Sign number 2, you know your numbers. In order for you to progress with money, you have to be aware. Another strong sign that you are doing better than you think is that you know your numbers. There was likely a season when financial information felt uncomfortable. You avoided logging in. You relied on vague estimations of how much money you have to spend. You preferred not to calculate the full picture of what you owed or what you were spending each month. That avoidance has been replaced with active engagement. You know your monthly fixed expenses. You have a working understanding of your account balances. You are aware of your debt totals. You may even track your net worth, not as a vanity metric, but as a measurement of your direction and how far that you've come on this journey. Knowing your numbers demonstrates ownership of your financial situation. When you are willing to face the data, you remove guesswork from your decisions. Adults who manage money well do not operate on assumptions. They operate on information. If you are reviewing your accounts, reconciling your spending, and staying informed about your financial position, you are functioning at a higher level than you were before, and that's a boss move. Sign number 3, you have money set aside. Another clear sign that you are doing better than you think is that you have money set aside. It may not be a large number, but it exists. There was a time when every penny that came in was already spoken for. An unexpected expense meant stress, scrambling, or reaching for a credit card. There was no buffer at all. Everything operated on the edge. Now there's breathing room. Even if the breathing room is modest, it's still breathing room. You have a stability fund, aka emergency fund, started. You keep a cushion in your checking account. You are building savings on purpose instead of hoping nothing goes wrong in your life. Savings represents stability. It means you are planning for reality instead of just being surprised by it when it shows up. Cars will need repairs. Appliances will act up on you. Life is unpredictable. Adults who prepare for that are functioning at a higher financial level. The amount you have saved right now matters less than the habit of saving consistently. $1,000 saved is not the finish line. It is evidence of your discipline. It proves that you can delay spending today to protect tomorrow. And that habit, once it's ingrained, lights a fire and your savings will start to expand and grow. If you have money set aside and it is growing even slowly, that is measurable progress. You are no longer operating paycheck to paycheck in the same way anymore. Sign number 4, your debt is moving in the right direction. Your progress is not measured by whether you have zero debt today. It is measured by whether your debt is trending down instead of trending up. There may have been a season when balances only went one way, and that's up. Credit cards carried over month to month. Loans were ignored unless a payment was due. The total number either stayed the same or it grew in the background. Now you are watching. You know what you owe. You are working your debt payment plan. You are focusing on debts either smallest balance to highest balance or largest interest rate to lowest interest rate. You are sending more than the minimum. You are making a plan to eliminate balances instead of just servicing them with a minimum payment. Debt reduction requires consistency. It requires deciding that future freedom matters more than present convenience. Every extra payment represents a choice to lower your obligations and strengthen your position. Even if the balance is still significant, the direction doesn't lose its significance. A decreasing number proves you are taking control. You are not relying on hope, you are taking action. If your debt is shrinking month by month, even gradually, that is undeniable progress. You are lightening your financial load, and less debt means more options, more flexibility, and more control over what you do next. Sign number 5, you invest and contribute consistently. Another sign you are further along than you think is that you are building for the future, not just managing the present. You are investing or contributing consistently, even if the amount feels small. There may have been a time when retirement felt distant and optional, something you would address later on after income increased or after debt was gone. You decided the future version of you would just have to figure that part out. Now you are participating. You contribute to a 401k, an IRA, or another investment account. You understand that consistency matters. Investing comes down to long-term thinking. It reflects patience and discipline. You are choosing growth over immediate consumption. You are allowing time and compounding to work in your favor. Even modest contributions made regularly signal control. You are not just surviving month to month. You are building something that will support you later. And that is a clear indicator that you are operating in leveled up financial behavior. Sign number 6, you say no to things that do not fit the plan. One of the strongest signs of financial growth is your ability to say no, not because you can't afford something, but because it does not align with your priorities. There was likely a time when saying no felt restrictive. If the money was technically available, you spent it. If friends were going, you went. Why would I not go? They're going, right? If it looked good in the moment, that was enough reason. Now you evaluate differently. You understand that every yes has a cost. You recognize that time, energy, and money are connected. When something does not fit the plan you have set, you decline it without needing to justify it to everyone else. That is significant. It means you are operating from conviction instead of comparison. You are no longer trying to match someone else's lifestyle at the expense of your own goals. Financial strength requires boundaries. It requires being clear about what matters most and the discipline to protect what matters most. When you can walk away from purchases, trips, upgrades, or obligations that do not support your direction, you are demonstrating real intentionality. If you are choosing being aligned over impulse decisions and long-term goals over short-term approval, that is major progress, and that kind of decision-making compounds just as powerfully as investing does. Sign number 7, and one of my favorites, as I said, you recover faster from financial mistakes. The final sign you are doing better than you think is when something goes wrong, you recover faster. There was a time when a financial mistake would derail you for months on end. An overspent credit card led to more spending. An unexpected expense turned into avoidance. A missed goal felt like proof that you're just not good with this money thing. Now the response is different. You correct it, you adjust the budget, you make the extra payment, you cut back somewhere else to rebalance yourself. You do not spiral, you respond. Confidence with money is not about never making mistakes. It's about shortening the distance between the mistake and your correction. Everyone miscalculates sometimes. Everyone has a month that costs more than they expected it to. The difference is how quickly you regain control. When you take ownership immediately instead of ignoring the issue, you protect your progress. Small corrections prevent large setbacks. Discipline is about responsiveness. If you can acknowledge a mistake, make a plan, and move forward without abandoning your system, you are operating at a higher level than before. And that ability to recover is one of the strongest indicators that your financial foundation is solidifying. The real talk truth. Look, you may be discounting your progress because it does not look dramatic enough to impress you. Forget about anyone else. You scroll past posts daily about people's higher incomes, bigger homes, luxury vacations, and early retirement stories, and you feel that you are behind. You assume that because your life does not look like that yet, your effort must not be enough. That comparison is distorting the perspective that's happening between our ears. Financial stability is not built on highlight moments. It is built on disciplined repetition. The woman who reviews her accounts every week, contributes consistently to retirement, pays down debt month after month, and keeps cash set aside is building the most stable foundation around. It may not photograph well, but it works every single time. There is nothing glamorous about saying no to unnecessary purchases. There is nothing exciting about making an extra payment on a loan. There is nothing flashy about transferring money into savings instead of spending it. But those are the decisions that create real financial strength. If your habits have improved, then your trajectory has improved. That is the truth. You do not need dramatic milestones to validate your progress. So stop dismissing disciplined behavior just because it's not flashy. Stop assuming that only large numbers count. The consistency you have built is not small. It is foundational, and foundations are what hold everything else up. Connecting the dots. Look at the pattern across everything that we just covered. You pause before spending. You know your numbers. You have money set aside. Your debt is moving down. You are investing consistently. You say no when something does not fit. You recover quickly when you make a mistake. That is not accidental behavior. That is structured growth. None of them depend on ideal circumstances. They depend on your decisions and repeated actions. If those behaviors describe you more today than they did a few years ago, then you are advancing and doing a good job at it. The numbers will follow your habits. They always do. If you recognize yourself in these signs, acknowledge the good work you are doing. Progress deserves to be recognized, especially when it's earned through your discipline. Keep doing the work. The habits you are building right now are shaping the life that you will live later. Please like, comment, and subscribe to the channel for more content like this. And if you want a practical starting point or a way to tighten up your system, my free starter guide is in the description. If you want more content about systems to implement to solidify your financial foundation, check out this playlist. You do not need dramatic signs to confirm your growth. If you notice your practices have improved, then your future has improved. That is your reminder of that today. This is your money era. Take care, and we'll chat again on the next one.